Hello, my name is Christine Townsend and I'm the Fosca advocate that sits on the Bristol Children's Safeguarding Board. And this is a video to give the feedback from some of the main topics that were covered in the meeting that went ahead on the 15th of July, so about a week ago. So one of the first things that we were introduced to was something called a health passport that the statutory health services brought in for children that use hospital services quite frequently. These are going to be used across both of the NHS trusts, so it will be beyond Bristol, going to South Gloucestershire and North Somerset as well. And this is in line with the new 0 to 25 code, although this is on top of the statutory education and healthcare plans. And that went down very well, and people thought that that was a very good resource that workers could use. Carrying on with the theme of hearing the voice of young people, a couple of people from Integrate Bristol, a couple of young people came and spoke to us. They had 10 minutes where they shared the ways in which Integrate Bristol have listened to the voice of young people, and they shared quite a lot around the work that they've been doing in schools recently across Bristol. The annual report is due to be finalised from the Safeguarding Board. They've asked for pieces by the end of August, so that should be published around early autumn time, something like that. There was also quite a big piece around the feedback from the recent annual conference that the Safeguarding Board held. I think that was at Bristol about a month ago. And there was positive feedback from most of the delegates there. And the voice of the child is clearly something that Bristol is pushing really hard on, and organisations are being supported to listen to what children and young people are telling us about what they want from their services. We had a report from around looked after children in our city, and this was looking at where they are placed, and over time, over the last few years, the numbers of looked after children that are either placed in Bristol or very close to Bristol is getting higher, so there are fewer children that are being sent further afield, although there is a correspondence between the further the child is placed away from their kind of home community, the higher the risks are around entry into crime. So that's something that's going to be looked at to see whether those figures are national figures and Bristol reflects something going on nationally, or whether there is something that's specific that we need to look at from a Bristol perspective. There was a report back from the child sexual exploitation subgroup. They're still working through issues around sharing information and data protection from all the different agencies. There's a few sticking points clearly around that, but they're working hard to try and find a way through. And of the three areas that subgroup have kind of been intelligence gathering around, they've got quite a lot of intelligence now around victims and potential victims and perpetrators, and what they've moved on to focus on now are the locations. There are specific locations where child sexual exploitation is more likely to happen, and a specific worker has just been appointed to work and coordinate around the nighttime economy. And try and bring all that intelligence back so we can get a clearer picture of what exactly is going on for our children and young people around that issue in Bristol. The Shadow Board, there was some feedback from our young people that sit on our Shadow Board, and basically they were looking at the difference between child-led and child-focused work. And really they used a scenario type exercise to have a discussion around that, and pretty much what the feedback was is that actually young people are they agree quite a lot with where the professionals are coming from in terms of how they felt about those different scenarios, so that was quite positive. The feedback from the conference was very positive for the Safeguarding Board, and the education subgroup, their main point that they fed back was about the new Ofsted framework. There's going to be quite a big increase around safeguarding, whole school safeguarding, and also how schools teach safeguarding within schools, and how they enable young people to discuss those issues that they might be facing themselves as a peer group. Okay, thank you.